Hello, this is John from the World Economic Federation. Real quick, let's talk about the energy credit and the energy reserve credit. Not only could you compare the energy reserve credit to a war bond because it is a token that increases in value when matured by the sale of green energy, it is equally an energy future for a green energy commodity that creates a fiat-backed token upon maturity. While on the consumer side, there are the main energy reserve credits that mature from their own sponsorship pool and the infrastructure that has not yet been sponsored. There are additional pools on the back end to drive the maturation of the pool-specific specialized energy reserve credits. These can collateralize our lending partners' loans to you and the system and eventually pay them off for you when they mature as the proof of work of the system. Those finance-level energy reserve credits are intended to be used between financial institutions, which they can use as commodity products and sell or keep as security, depending on their situation, profit strategy, and regulatory decisions. Whatever happens, when those credits mature, the financial partner profits, and while they are waiting, they still have the reserve credits in collateral. This can allow the system to take out loans from the traditional credit-based economy and use the proof-of-work economy to pay back the credit-based system by having accomplished real work, not wasteful math and consumption that cause fiat currency, instead of being backed by it. Each proof-of-work layer has its own pool of sponsorships and its own ability to issue their own reserve credits to their lending partners, which, in time, are matured by that associated sponsorship pool. This way, a creditor, such as a bank or government, can not only hold on to the mainline ERCs, they can use their special issue ERCs as collateral as well. I suspect these assets can even be bundled and traded by the financial industry if they wish. The role of the Federation is to focus on the integrity and transparency of the proof-of-work systems of the energy credit. How people wish to transact commerce is up to the banks and regulators. Our proof-of-work is based on maintaining the equitable plumbing of civilization. Let banks and Wall Street use these commodity products as they see fit, as we operate under the watchful eye of the regulators, the banks, and the auditor group that you get to take part in electing. Today's proof-of-work topic is how we aim to address the education system and student debt. Let's say today there is about $1.75 trillion, give or take, of student debt that has been hung around the necks of our children and grandchildren. If President Biden wishes to stimulate the economy and free millions of Americans from student debt, he is free to reach out, and we can issue the government $1.75 trillion of student debt energy reserve credits and a little extra as the Federal Reserve's collateral, so they can forgive the corresponding debt to our nation's children. When those ERCs have fully matured, the government will in fact profit from having forgiven student debt, not written it off. It may sound strange to try to fund this climate solution with so few resources as the subscribe button and a low Patreon level of support. But there have been enough crypto systems that have asked people for large amounts of their hard-earned money on speculative currencies that sometimes even waste energy to create them, only to pull the rug out from under them in behavior seeming identical to the boiler room pump and dump schemes of the 90s. But this time you have fast-talking influencers asking you to drive up the value of a coin they are dumping. We believe with enough popular support, we can use the traditional financial system that this platform is designed to be a part of. In its most effective deployment, this system is designed to be integrated into the fully mature financial system that embraces regulation and transparency with oversight of its administration and partnerships. It also has a proof of work that makes real money that can be stored in those mature financial institutions because we are meeting a real economic, societal, and global need for green energy development as our proof of work. There are other shortcuts that we can take to get this done, but those will be other videos. With the subscription and the Patreon revenue there to show popular support, provide demographics, and fund the project over time, we can add to the strategy a sense of inevitability as a precaution in case those in power wish to keep insisting on exploiting people's need for education to trap them in debt at the dawn of their adult lives to the benefit of future underpaying employers, while supporting the fossil fuel industry through their tax dollars, taken by threat of imprisonment, all while more living wage jobs disappear every year. Have you recovered from your student loans or even 2008 if you are old enough to be there? This system is based on real economics and real work accomplished, all creating revenue to mature those reserve credits, which drives profit for shareholders of those banks and those countries. The economy can now create inflation-resistant currency on demand, meeting budgetary demands in a way that also addresses the climate crisis. By hedging their loans with a proof of work, those banks can unleash vast amounts of revenue, as with modern monetary theory. But this time, the reserve credit is there to hedge the inflation until maturity and reward investors. Or, in other contexts, they can help balance governmental budgets. Every bit of support we get, we use to take a shot at the unjust taxation-driven fossil fuel economy of low-paying jobs and economically driven divorce rates. Now, I am no lawyer, so this part is quite speculative. It also gets a bit wonkish, so bear with me. If memory serves, you have a constitutional right to bankruptcy. When the student debt system was created in the law, they included the removal of bankruptcy as an option for students without changing the Constitution to allow it. Additionally, the fact that the financial distress forces those students into desperate situations, which leads to low-paying jobs with their fancy degrees, the federal government has basically socialized indentured servitude, creating a financially distressed workforce, which drives profits at the expense of workers and families. It offends me to my core that in a nation that claims to be the land of the free, that claims to value family, we might have leaders who are so hypocritical that they will speak of the evil of socialized medicine while socializing servitude for the donor class, while propping up fossil fuel industry with the practice of taxation. In my non-legal personal opinion, the entire student loan industry is built on a violation of the Constitution I swore to uphold and defend regardless of what some pro-business leaders may say. If our leaders are so corrupt they refuse to take action to address this, I propose we can sue the government for the destruction of the environment, the violation of Americans' constitutional rights by denying them their right to bankruptcy protection, in order to put them in de facto violation of the 13th Amendment, having socialized servitude to lenders through eliminating that bankruptcy protection. Most cases such as this would likely be thrown out if challenged. However, now the optics have changed. If the DOJ and the Biden administration wishes to, they have the opportunity to settle in court and accept 1.7 trillion educational energy reserve credits plus profit and other appropriate reserve credits to fully cancel college debt and take climate action in a way that does not trigger inflation, as it has a clear means and eventual schedule to be repaid, unlike so much other federal debt created by Congress. Court settlements cannot be filibustered by pro-tax, pro-usury politicians. How often in a court settlement is a plaintiff suing the government, demanding the opportunity to solve the climate crisis and eliminate student debt in a way that the defendant is the one that gets paid and profits? How absurd would the government look fighting such a suit to defend fossil fuel predatory lenders, and a tax system that targets the working class. If the reserve credits are accepted by the Federal Reserve as a green energy-based reserve commodity that will eventually mature and pay down debt, that means that banks will know that the system is well regulated through our being reserve accounting system. The governments can even be direct participant in overseeing the contracts that build the infrastructure to prevent waste, fraud, and abuse, along with participating banks' representatives and the auditor's office that is elected. These projects will drive business for independent developers that pay a living wage as part of their agreement with us, allowing us to focus on the integration into the traditional financial system. This is how we aim to eliminate student debt. There is a potential that we have to wait until we have politicians that are not so beholden to the fossil fuel industry to eliminate taxes. But the same system can be implemented through partnership with the banking industry as they hold and lend out our extensive cash reserves that can stay in the bank, stimulating the economy further. There are other potential ways to execute the elimination of student debt if we succeed, without mainstream support. But this is among the fastest ways to do it, through the cooperation of the federal governments and private financial institutions, especially after recent events in markets and crypto. I see no good reason that President Biden should hesitate to eliminate student debt without triggering inflation while addressing the climate crisis. The proof of work of other crypto systems is consuming energy. Just a single layer of the proof of work system represents the opportunity to eliminate student debt along the road to financial independence through the energy credit system. If you are an educational system interested in having your school funded by banks who are paid back by us in energy credit maturation for profit, please reach out and we can begin developing the accreditation process to receive Federation funding from participating banks. If you want to see this future happen, please like and subscribe to this video and other Federation videos to spread the word about this work. You can also support us through our Patreon to show our financial inevitability to our leaders. But please, only if you can afford to. Times are tough. We aim to eliminate poverty, and we do not wish to add to it in the attempt. I suppose, for liability reasons, as I did touch on it, I should make clear nothing here should be construed as legal or financial advice, as I am simply discussing the possible implementation of a large economic and financial strategy that I wish to execute with the established financial system who are accredited for such matters, while working with regulators and banks to maximize security, transparency, and accountability of the overall system. Thank you for your time. In the next video, I will be discussing the user feedback system of the economic model, which will help guide the executive committee's decision and an additional potential shortcut to net negative carbon emissions.